Am I the a-hole for announcing to my sexist stepfather that I'll not be sharing my college funds with my stepbrother? I, 18 female, found out a couple months ago that I got into my dream school early that happens to be an Ivy League. I was overjoyed and my parents were happy for me too. We're not too well off, but my grandma saved up money for her only granddaughter's college fund, me, which is more than enough to fund my tuition. Now, I have a stepbrother, Damon, 19 male. He took a gap year, not really, and he is going to college too, but he's going to a college less costly than mine. Honestly, he's only going to attend college because of his dad's incessant nagging. So recently, my parents, more like my stepdad, is bugging me about sharing my college funds with Damon. I don't want to, or else I'll have debt after graduation, and it will ruin all my financial planning after college. But last night at dinner was my breaking point when stepdad asked again. I said no. Then he said to my mom, well, anyway, Amy's a girl. Why waste that much money on her college? I completely lost it. I yelled out, you know what, I've had enough. First of all, it is not even your money to decide what to do with it. It's the money my grandma left for my college tuition. Besides, my gender doesn't define my intelligence. I got into an Ivy League, didn't I? Then Damon piped in and said I need to accept he's smarter, with a grin. Now here's where I may have been the a-hole. I said, at least I have plans and ambitions, unlike Damon who told everyone he took a gap year when he actually failed, which is true. Stepdad and Damon stormed off and my mom called me an a-hole. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It's your money. You actually got into an Ivy League, unlike Damon. And it sounds as if you know enough to not insult someone when you're asking them for a favor. Again, unlike Damon. Your mother is an a-hole too, though. She should have your back. While the stepdad and Damon are like the mustache-twirling villains of this post, the real problem is actually Opie's mom. She should be protecting Opie's future and her college fund. She should be standing up for Opie when her husband and stepson insult her daughter. She should have intervened at Opie's behalf before it got to the point where Opie blew up and responded to their baseless bullying with cold hard facts. And she should never call her daughter an a-hole for standing up for herself. Not the a-hole if it's not obvious. The sexist, stereotypical stepdad and stepbrother are absolutely a-holes, but the mom is an a-hole and a failure of a parent. You would be the a-hole if you gave your grandmother's money to a person she did not intend it for. Did she scrimp and save for all those years for your stepbrother? No. She did it because her greatest wish was for you to go to college debt-free. So do what she wished. Your stepfather is trying to steal your money. He will try to pressure your mother to give it to him. Lock that money down, so only you have access to it. Not the a-hole. First of all, congratulations on getting into a school of your dreams. I'm sorry your mom is such a pushover. She should have stood up for you against those two bullies. It is money for your education and yours only. If your stepdad wanted Damon, or himself, to have less financial burden for his education, he should have done something about that. What did Damon do anyway during his so-called gap year? He should have worked to save some money for his education. But I guess he didn't think about that because he's being made to go to college. Not the a-hole. Quick note, call the bank today. Tell them you need enhanced account protection to protect yourself against a family member attempting to steal your money. Many of the verification questions that a bank would ask to verify your identity are well known to your family members. If this ends up being unnecessary, then no harm, no foul. But when your mom is on board with you having to give money to your stepbrother, you need to protect yourself. Next story. Am I the a-hole for choosing my senior cat over my sister and potentially allowing her to become homeless? I will preface this by saying that my mother treated my sister and I differently. I was always less than, while she could do no wrong. She'd always buy my sister everything she wanted, while I wore her hand-me-downs. I moved out at 18, worked through college, went no contact with mom and low contact with sister, and our paths diverged greatly from there. I now work in a field that pays well, while she is a stay-at-home mom. I guess I never quite got over this, and while I know the main a-hole is my mother, and my sister didn't really know any better, I still fester negative feelings towards both of them. I found Tom in a bag as a newborn kitten. He was the only one still alive, and I raised him over summer break when I was 13. Then, when school started, my mother got rid of him and I had to go through great and extreme lengths to find out where she dumped him. Took me a week to find him, and we've been together ever since. For a few months now, Tom hasn't really been okay, and has been slowly declining. The vet, however, based on a recent blood panel we did, was confident that he still have some life left to live and said that he's by far the healthiest geriatric cat she's seen in a while. Thus, we decided to try out surgery to improve his quality of life, even though he's 21. This surgery comes with a price tag. I'm not in the US, but it's around 3 months worth of minimum wage in my country. It won't set us back much, hardly an inconvenience, but we'll be frugal just in case complications happen. He's scheduled for Monday, fingers crossed. Anyway, my sister dropped by on Sunday, which was strange as we spoken since she messaged me a Merry Christmas gif on Facebook. Looks like her husband jumped heavy onto the NFT bandwagon, and they're kinda broke and a few months behind on mortgage, and asked if I could help out with the payments since they're at risk of becoming homeless. I said I'm sorry she's going through this, but this is not a good time for me either and listed the reasons above. I do not want to ever be in a situation where my cat's life depends on $100 that I cannot afford to pay. I suggested she got a job and maybe downsize/move in with mother while they get back up on their feet. She did not take this well, called me a C-word and a crazy cat lady that's going to end up alone, plus some other nice words, so I kicked her out. My mother and other relatives have been spamming me through the week for being heartless and caring more about an animal than my own flesh and blood. My husband says I could have just given her some cash to avoid the drama. And he's right, I could have. This is why I feel like I might be the a-hole, because in the end, the main reason I chose not to help is due to my childhood baggage. Not the a-hole. Have you asked the family that has been spamming you how much they are financially contributing towards your sister? Hope the surgery goes well, and wish a speedy recovery for Tom. Not the a-hole, but next time, just tell her no, OP. She doesn't need to know your reasons. And respond to all the relatives, thank you so much for letting me know that I made a wrong choice. I will let my sister know that you'll be catching her up on her bills. Between you and X and Y and Z, she should be able to remain home and not get a job, while also staying in her house. I suggest you all get in contact with each other to figure out what you can each contribute. You truly are amazing people. I would send the same message, with names changed to every one of them. And then, I'd create a chat you can jump out of, including your sister, and say, X, Y, and Z have graciously agreed to pay your bills. These people are truly amazing. I'll just off this chat and let you guys handle it from here. Then, leave and block them all. In the end, the main reason I chose not to help is due to my childhood baggage. It's enough of a reason to me. They treated you like trash, and now do they expect you to run to your sister's help with a smile on your face? Not the a-hole. I wanted to say that depending on the age, the sister might be an innocent here. But based on her unhinged reaction, I doubt it. OP, I'm not sure you did this because of the baggage from your mom. It sounds like you did it because your sister is a jerk. Not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving up anything for someone who wasn't willing to give up anything for me? My male 24 parents passed away when I was very young. I have 3 siblings, a sister and 2 brothers. All of them are much older than me. After my parents passed away, I wanted to live with either my sister or my second brother, but both of them made it very clear that they don't want me. I don't want to go with my oldest brother because he is our half-brother and wasn't close to him, and I lived in another city, away from all of my friends and the rest of our family, but he was the only one who wanted me, so I went with him. Unlike what I thought, my oldest brother is actually awesome, and I had a very good life. I still live with him. My other siblings didn't even bother to call much. This was just a short background that I thought might be relevant. Recently, my second brother lost everything. I don't know nor care about what happened. All I know is he is in a very bad condition. My sister left the country a few years ago, so my oldest brother is the only one who can help him. A few days ago, my oldest brother told us my brother and his family, wife and sons 11 and 17, want to move in with us for a while because they have no other option as his wife doesn't have a family. We live in a 5-bedroom house. My brother's room, my room, his daughter's room, his aunt's room, and our gaming room. So we have the space for them to move in. My brother said he doesn't want to force us to give up our space and wants us to figure out something that works for us. My nephew said he is fine with giving up the gaming room or sharing for a short time, but I said screw them. I'm not sharing or giving up anything for them, but my niece does what I say, so she is on my side. My brother said he is a bit disappointed, but won't force us to do anything. However, my second brother and his wife think we are selfish a-holes. Now for the comments. It is not your house, so are you really in a position to make decisions here? I don't feel like you owe him anything, but you should respect that your elder brother might not share your feelings and it is his house. Influencing a child is an a-hole move. I'm not sure about judgment. Yes, but he specifically mentions he was given the decision. Info, how old was he / what was his life situation when you were orphaned? Was he able to take you in? When he said no, did he say, I'm sorry, I can't, knowing your oldest brother would? Or did he say, no, I don't want you, not knowing what the outcome would be either way? The unknowns here make or break the story. He was 23, but he inherited a lot of money when our parents passed away, so he didn't have any financial problems. He didn't know my oldest brother would take me in. So he was 23 with a child. I think that not taking you in was probably a very mature decision. My oldest brother was 26 with 2 kids. Kicking your brother potentially into the foster care system when you have the financial resources to make it work? That is insanely callous. You're the a-hole, not because of not giving a damn about a brother who clearly didn't give a damn about you. You are the a-hole because you are interfering with your half-brother doing for your other brother exactly what he did for you, helping out when help is needed. As you said, your half-brother is an awesome person and the type who helps family when they need it. I wonder whether half-brother really doesn't want to take them in either, but it's easier on him to let OP look like the bad guy than to say no himself. Half-brother could overrule OP if he chose to do so. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling sister we can't be roommates because I don't want men I don't know in the hypothetical apartment? I'm 30 and she's 28. My daughter is 6, and I also work from home. I'm a single mom, widow, and I want to get info on one-bedroom apartment I love. My sister tagged along, and in order to get a move-in special, I had to do another tour, and it was the first time she'd toured it. She already has an apartment, but loved the complex I'm moving to. Afterwards, my sister asked if I wanted to be roommates. I don't want a roommate. Keep in mind I've told my family about the apartment, and they all know I'm only looking at one-bedrooms. I want to build my life, and this will be the first time having my own place as a single mom. Honestly, she also isn't dependable financially or time-wise. She also has a history of letting guys she barely knows come to her apartment and give them a key. I'm not judging as that's her choice, but I'm not okay with that all. So I just said reasons that I didn't think would offend her. First, I said no because you can't smoke grass there. She said she would do it on the balcony, and I said you can't because the complex is strict about it. It's a brand new apartment, and quality housing is hard to find here, so I'm not risking anything just so someone can smoke. She then said that she'd just go to a friend's house to smoke, and ask what other reasons do I have. At that point, I had to be direct and say that we can't be roommates because I wouldn't be comfortable with non-related men in the apartment. And she got angry and asked me why. I have a very young daughter. I don't like being around men I don't know, so I only want to live with just my daughter. I want to be independent and have a stable lifestyle for the two of us. I said that I understand if she is comfortable with guys she knows, but I don't know them and will not be comfortable. I would only be okay with our dad, brothers, and a trusted male family friend that would only visit, and I would pay to help with moving, putting furniture together, etc. She was mad, and then said that if it's her place too, then she should be able to bring the guy. Remember? This is a hypothetical apartment, and she knows that I only looked at and only getting a one-bedroom apartment. I told her that I understand, but I don't agree, so that's why I can't live with someone else because I'm very strict about that. She then said whatever, and acted mad towards me. Edit, I should have explained why it's an issue. I'm big on safety and taking precautions. My daughter likes to visit and sometimes sleep the night, and just hang out with her aunt/my sister. I allow it since sometimes I go, and my sister lives alone. If I have to go to my office for a few hours on weekends, she sometimes goes to my sister's place. When my sister told me that she gave a guy her key for a bit, it made me feel uncomfortable, so I nicely suggested that she gets her locks changed. Keep in mind, she told me she knew this guy for maybe 2 to 3 weeks. My mind went to my daughter. What if this guy made a copy of the key and randomly comes over, especially when my daughter's there? When I said that, she got mad and said the guy wouldn't do that. Again, I nicely explained that she doesn't know for sure, and I'm just concerned about her safety. Not the a-hole. Your only mistake was continuing to explain anything to her. No is a complete sentence. You could have followed it with, because I don't want to. Yeah, I should have kept it at that. I thought by explaining it, she'd understand and not think to bring it up again. And you are 100% right to think of your safety and that of your daughter. Your sister can do whatever she wants, and go her. But let's not be naive. Strange men will be left alone without sister in your home, potentially with your child. I had a roommate in college like this once. I woke up 2 times to random guy in the living room demanding I make them breakfast because she had told them I would. I'm pretty assertive and made them leave. She got angry, but I told her if it ever happened again, she would come home to her crap on the lawn and locks changed. I was the leaseholder while she was illegal sub-renter. The office of the building knew this. I had already asked them about this, and they said, yup, they would come and change the locks if she put my safety at risk. A few weeks went by, and her crap ended up on the lawn and we never spoke again. I honestly don't care what she did, but she needed to be escorting her guests at all times. Leaving strangers alone in my home while I was asleep? GTFO. Not the a-hole. Setting boundaries that feel good to you is always a good thing. You're protecting yourself and your daughter physically, emotionally, and financially. People who get mad about boundaries usually don't have good boundaries of their own. Or they're mad about losing access to whatever they were leeching off you. That makes a lot of sense. I have firm boundaries, and she gets mad when I say no for things that she regrettably agrees to do. Update. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he chose between me and his fiancée when he prioritized her surgery over mine? Original post. I, 17 female, have had a rocky relationship with my dad. My parents married after I was born, hoping to provide a stable family for me. But they divorced when I was 11 after my dad went to rehab, and things only worsened from there. During rehab, he met his current fiancée, and they later had a kid, 6 female. Since then, my dad has been mostly absent from my life. Whenever I have important events, he either has an excuse or doesn't show. I'd estimate he's been present for less than half of my events since their divorce. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and initially, surgery wasn't needed. However, my condition got worse, and I was finally scheduled for surgery on November 20th, 2024. I told my dad about it months ago, expressing how much I needed his support this time, and he promised he'd be there. But later, he texted to say he'd planned a vacation that would keep him away until mid-December, just as my recovery period would be ending. It broke my heart, but I accepted it. Then, 2 hurricanes hit his vacation spot, and he told me he'd make my surgery. I felt a glimmer of hope. But then, just a week before my surgery, he texted again, saying his fiancée's lung cancer surgery had been scheduled for the same day, a few hours before mine, at a hospital 30 minutes away. He said he might not make it to my surgery, but with him, might not usually means won't. He added that this wasn't about who he loved more. That message shattered me. I realized that no matter how much I hoped, he might never give me the attention and support I needed. I broke down on my kitchen floor that day. After sitting with my feelings, I texted him to tell him how deeply his actions hurt me. I said it wasn't only about love, but about showing care and that he'd given me hope only to let me down again. I questioned if his fiancée's surgery had really been scheduled last minute, or if he had known earlier but hadn't told me. I asked him to show he was my dad through his actions, not just his words. He responded, insisting the surgery was only scheduled the day he'd told me. But because he's lied in the past to save face, I reached out to someone who might know the truth. I then sent a follow-up message, clarifying that my frustration wasn't with his fiancée. It was with his ongoing absence and lack of support. I said that even if his reasons were genuine, he could have at least shown some empathy. I told him I hoped he'd be a better father for my half-sister than he has been for me. In a final message, I made it clear that I was done putting in all the effort to maintain our relationship on my own. I told him that if he wanted to be my dad, I would gladly be his daughter, but if he chose not to, I would be fine with that too. He hasn't responded, and honestly, I'd prefer he sit with what I've said. For once, I hope he really thinks about his actions and the impact they've had on me. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. For anyone asking, Dad met his fiancée before leaving us. Had my sister in the oven before leaving us. She will be 7 on the 24th of next month. It's possible he cheated, and it's not hard to deduce that. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Girl, your father hasn't shown up for you your entire life. What makes you think he is going to do it now? And furthermore, why do you allow him to have that power over you? He is not your father. He is the male who impregnated your mother. Stop elevating him to father status. This man is going to support the person he is making his life with, not the child he walked away from years ago. He doesn't prioritize you, and he never will, no matter what words he uses or promises he makes. Good luck with your surgery and focus on your recovery. Thank you, I will. Now for the first update. First of all, thank you for your support. All of your opinions mean the world to me and really opened my eyes to this. Here are some questions I was asked, and here's what I can answer. 1. His child is in school/he has to take care of her. No, not really. She is homeschooled and doesn't know how to spell, but that problem is for another day. His bio mom, my grandma, can take her to and from the 2 hospitals. However, I asked that he come the day after or the next. 2. What stage is her cancer/more defined timeline? I don't remember ever being told what stage her cancer is. In October 2023, my dad told me she had a tumor in her lungs, but didn't say the stage. I don't know how the law works regarding who gets a say in her surgery, but the fiancé has a great relationship with her parents, ex-husband, adult daughter, and siblings. As far as I know, he doesn't tell me anything. This was planned as of the day he texted me, and they had the option to choose the day before, but the doctor pushed them for my surgery day. 3. You have your mother for decision-making. I don't need my dad for those decisions. I needed him at my surgeries so I could have a cushion and reassurance that he would be there for me. 4. He could still very well make it. Yes, that is a chance. It's fine if he doesn't. When he gets called out for mistakes or yelled at, he shrivels and goes cold. He probably won't. I told his fiancé good luck, and the person I talked to says he is telling the truth. Does he provide quality support for you when he does show up? It sounds like he's more the kind of person whose presence would just make everything miserable and maybe make your mom uncomfortable. I can't really imagine how he could be so absent and unreliable, yet loving and comforting enough to support you during surgery. I hear and see on media that when someone goes through surgery, both parents are there because they love them and want to see them before they go into something scary. Like my surgery, they are putting 2 rods through my entire back. The only reason I had to push it to November and April was because I didn't want to miss my last year of marching band/Halloween, even though there were options in summer. Anyway, I would say the idea of him and the effort of being at my surgery was enough comfort for me, even though he doesn't really do anything else when he shows up. Second update 3 months later. Hey guys, it's been a while. Thanks for your love. I've been dragging my feet on an update, but here it is. Surgery recovery has been great. I've been in therapy since I was 12, so my therapist knows everything about my dad. Love that people across all platforms think my dad is just a sperm donor and not a real dad. Senior night is on Valentine's Day. I told him weeks in advance, saying, games start at 7 usually, but I would get to the school 30 minutes early since we will probably do it before the game. I texted his mom, grandma, to ask him if he was going, and he texted her, "Oh, I never got a date. She doesn't tell me anything." BS. I told her I'll go no contact if he doesn't go, and I will go low contact if he does. If he wants to know, he can freaking ask and write it in his calendar. I told my mom to stop staying neutral and tell me why he acts like this. The relationship is almost ruined, so there is no point in her trying to save it. He likes to play the victim, tries to make it sound like my mom doesn't want him around, and uses it as an excuse to make himself look like a good guy. I've seen text messages from when I was younger of my mom trying to get my dad to make an effort. I showed her the first post, so I'll send her this one too. Hi Mom, the Kindle had screenshots of some convos. I love you. I saw them in August when I found it, so I've known for a while. I see my mom in a new light now. She will be walking me down the aisle and dancing with me at my wedding. She sacrificed so much of herself for me. She is not only my mom, but also my dad. For non-Americans, senior night usually involves seniors and their chosen people walking them across the floor. My dad walked me down for my fall senior night, but he will not be one of my people this Friday. I am desperate to keep contact with my sister. I know Grandma will help me with that. I know that if his fiancé and my dad break up, he will do the same thing to my sister. Friday came and passed. My dad got mad when he realized I didn't want him to walk me across the gym floor. He, along with Grandma and my sister, left during halftime. We did the walk before the varsity game, and pep band can't leave the stands until the third quarter, same as marching band. Plus, Grandma has been to previous basketball and football games. I left my dad a long voicemail and message on Friday for leaving, especially since my sister begged to see me, and he refused her. I told Mima I was disappointed that she left when she knew what happens at games. Monday, I finally sent him my boundaries and blocked him. I know I'm going to cry later. This is going to be hard for me. Thanks for your support. It means a lot to me throughout this journey. Hi, I'm you 30 years in the future. He doesn't change. For your own well-being, move on with your life without him in it. Heck, I'm 30 now. I can say the same thing. He won't change. He'll call you once, maybe twice a year when it's convenient for him. Maybe send gifts that show how much he doesn't know who you are or what interests you. Maybe not. He'll send you the occasional pity party call or text. Call me. We don't talk enough, etc. Honestly, it's easier if he just forgets you exist and doesn't reach out at all. Easier to not get your hopes up. Your mom did the same thing mine did. He doesn't see who he's missing out on, watching you grow, learn, and succeed in life. Or being there to support you when you fall. Ain't worth the heartache trying to chase what ain't there. Yep, some dads just don't get it. No point in chasing what's not there. So what happened with the surgeries? It's not really an update to skip ahead multiple months and not touch on anything around the original posting. Did he make it to visit you? How's the lung cancer outlook? He won't tell me about her surgery, and he visited once for 30 minutes. I don't count it as a visit since he was either on his phone, handling my sister, or avoiding eye contact. Plus, I had to poop in order to get discharged, so I was going up every 10 minutes needing to try. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law it's not my fault she married a deadbeat and to figure it out? So, I'm 25 and my husband is 28. We just had our first baby 4 days ago. I was just released from the hospital yesterday. My mother-in-law is bombarding my husband with calls because she's old and sick and wants him to take care of her. My husband took 2 weeks off work to stay home with me and the baby, to care for me after the C-section and bond with our daughter. Mother-in-law took that as him being free and available and refuses to acknowledge that he's not on vacation. It hasn't been easy. There were complications, and I lost a lot of blood. I'm in a lot of pain, to the point where I can't even stand up on my own. Our baby is very fussy and cries a lot. We're not really sleeping because she literally cries every hour. The first time mother-in-law called was literally 3 minutes after I gave birth, wanting him to go to her because she wasn't feeling well. She kept calling every hour while I was still in the hospital. My husband stayed with me the entire time because, like I said, I lost a lot of blood and wasn't feeling well. He put his phone on Do Not Disturb and didn't turn it on until I was discharged. We were still in the hospital parking lot when she called. He answered, and when he explained the situation, she lost her absolute mind, so he ended the call. She hasn't stopped calling him since, and he blocked her number last night at 4 a.m. after 73 calls from her. She started calling me this morning, and I tried to be polite, but after 15 calls between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m., where she called me names, yelled at me, and insulted me, I snapped and told her to leave us alone because we have a newborn at home. She said she doesn't understand why he can't go to her because her husband never took care of her after she gave birth and wasn't really involved with the kids until they were 3 to 4 years old. I told her it's not my fault she married and had kids with a deadbeat and to leave us alone and figure her own problems out like an adult. My husband is on my side, but we're obviously biased, considering the amount of stress we're under at the moment. So I'm asking, because I don't know if it's just the stress and hormones and we're actually the problem, or if she is out of her mind to expect my husband to leave me alone at home in this condition.
I'm posting here because I need unbiased opinions. I feel like an ass for what I said, and even if it's deserved, I should have worded my frustrations better. Now for the top comments. Was she in need before? Have you just disappeared and abandoned her? She has diabetes, and that's it. She's not bedridden or in need of 24-hour care. She just hates not being the center of attention, which is why her other kids went no contact, and father-in-law divorced her. She is fully capable of taking care of herself and being independent. My husband was already low contact with her before this, after she told him she didn't care about my pregnancy, when he refused to go watch a movie with her because we were having a prenatal checkup. I mean, it kind of depends. By old and sick, does that mean she just wants a servant to order around? Or does that mean she's at death's door and actually needs help standing up and getting to the bathroom? My mother pretended she was in the latter situation. I moved literally 11 time zones to take care of her in her final days. And now she's well on her way to unaliving me because she's an obnoxious, entitled, thankless, 24/7 bitch mode miser who is going to outlive me thanks to all the stress. And I already had 2 strokes and waiting on a final 1 damaged cerebrovascular mess. She's 71 with diabetes, but she's fully capable of being independent. She is fully mobile and can very well take care of herself. She just hates not getting attention from everyone. Not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law is behaving entitled. And congratulations on the baby. Entitled and insane. Block her. Don't unblock until you can walk. If she still acts like a crazy person, block her again. Rinse and repeat until she learns to not act insane. I agree with the insane part too. She's just losing her mind. And kudos to husband for standing up to her and protecting you. She will end up completely alone if she keeps this up, with no relationship with her grandbaby. Fafo. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not taking my father-in-law's last name after getting married? Hi all. I got married to my husband a year ago, and I am still wondering if I'm an a-hole. Before we got married, my husband and I talked and agreed that I could keep my current last name. It never occurred to me that I should tell anyone about our decision not to change my last name. At our wedding, the pastor announced us as Mr. John and Mrs. Jane, fake names for anonymity. No last name was announced. But I guess I did mention to my new sister-in-law that I was keeping my name. I'm not sure if she told my in-laws intentionally to cause conflict, or if she actually didn't realize I hadn't told them. Anyways, once we got back from our honeymoon and finished moving into our new house, my husband's parents invited us over. What I thought was going to be a nice first visit as husband and wife quickly turned into a fight. My father-in-law said he had to have a serious conversation with me, and he began talking about how great and wonderful his last name is, and how people will automatically respect me in his community just because I would have the same name as him. I calmly as I could, I was so upset at this point I could hardly talk, told him my reasons for not wanting to change my name. 1. It's complicated and expensive to change IDs and such. 2. My current last name is unique. I've never met another person outside of my family with it. 3. My home business and degree were established under my current name. None of these reasons were good enough for him. He replied, well, other daughter-in-law changed her name, and she has the same degree as you. And then mother-in-law said it didn't cost her any money to change her name, but that was 40 years ago. Things change. I said, I don't feel that I further need to justify my decision to you since you're not listening or understanding my perspective. Now, father-in-law says I am insulting him by rejecting his name, and all his friends are going to suspect something is wrong and that I am making a mistake and that no one will respect me. I am full-on crying at this point, and all I could do was stand and say, I am going home. As we are walking out, father-in-law stands up and throws his hands up in a surrendering gesture, saying, I'm just trying to have a conversation. I think I could be the a-hole for 2 reasons here. 1. For not publicly announcing my intentions to keep my maiden name. 2. For walking out mid-conversation with my new in-laws. Not the a-hole, at all. It's your name. No one gets to tell you what it should or shouldn't be. I'd say if anyone is disrespecting other people's names, it's your father-in-law for not thinking your name is as good as his. The fact that he was so rude in his expression of his opinion only further proves you are not the a-hole for walking out and avoiding any more conflict, as most people would have done much worse. Thank you for your thoughts. I never considered that he was disrespecting my name, but makes sense. It also wasn't OP's responsibility to break the news to her father-in-law and ask permission to keep her name. If her husband thought this would be so traumatizing for his father, he should have had a conversation with him. And husband should have defended his wife against this attack. Not the a-hole. It's none of his damn business, honestly. You can keep your last name, take your husband's, both of you can pick a new one, or your husband could take your last name. My advice is stop trying to please those people because they sound impossible. Yes, I've realized it's impossible to please them. I would love to pick a new name with husband, but he's not on board with that idea. Update. Am I the a-hole for saying to my father that I will run away if he reconciles with my cheating egg donor? Original post. Hi, I am a 17-year-old male and had my worst birthday last week. For context, my dad and my egg donor divorced when I was 14. So yeah, this is going to be 3 years worth of details. My egg donor cheated on my dad and had a year-long affair. My dad found out and during the separation, explained what happened. I was already mature and was having big conversations with my dad, like politics, so he didn't hide anything. I was, and still am, disgusted with my egg donor. I swore that day that I would never call her mom again. Even now, I either call her by her name or just say, "Hey you," to start a conversation. She moved in with her affair partner. My dad got the house, but unfortunately couldn't get full custody. I wasn't given a preference because while I was staying with my dad during the separation, I got into a fight at school. Yeah, I have a bit of a temper issue. My egg donor's lawyer used that to get joint custody until I turned 18. I was like, WTF in court. I think my egg donor slept with the judge to get that ruling. My dad is a great human being, period. He has never raised his voice and has always loved me so much. He occasionally says, "I love you, son," which makes me cringe, but I accept it. My dad is a very loving person. He always says he has an ocean of love to give. He loved my mom so much. Whenever my egg donor returned from work, my dad used to hug her, give her a kiss, and ask her how her day was, even when she was having a year-long affair. I don't know what kind of human she is to keep up a facade when your partner is loving you so much. Things became serious last month when I had a huge fight with my entire maternal side of the family. I was very close with my maternal grandparents, but I started distancing myself after the divorce. We visited my grandparents' house. I was angry that a affair partner was present with my egg donor, and the trip was for an entire weekend. I wasn't very keen on it, but my dad convinced me that it was going to be great. Boy, was he wrong. For the past 2 years, my grandparents have asked me many times to change my attitude toward my egg donor, but I never cared. Things went crazy when they tried to have an intervention with me. Grandparents, egg donor, and affair partner were present. I was completely blindsided. All 4 of them were sitting opposite me. They gave me the entire couch to sit by myself. It was like a therapy session. Egg donor and grandparents started their attack one by one, while affair partner was silent. My temper took over, and the a-hole version of me came out. I turned toward affair partner and said, "Hey you, F off. This is between family." Everyone was shocked at my tone. Egg donor tried to end the intervention because she knew what would happen when this side of me comes out. But my grandparents didn't budge. I am their only grandson, and they didn't want to lose connection with me as I started distancing myself. Affair partner was ashamed and was leaving when I said other hurtful things. I said, "She cheated on my dad with you. She will cheat on you with someone else." That caused more damage. He couldn't say a word. Then I hit the final blow. I hope your son also gets cheated on by his future wife so he can know what kind of a-hole his father is. That hit him hard. He was angry and stormed out. Egg donor wanted to follow him, but I did not let her go. I asked her to sit so we could finish this once and for all. Egg donor started crying, saying, "How can her only son treat her this way?" Grandparents were disappointed in me. I turned toward my egg donor and started unloading everything. I explained how much I loved her, how much Dad loved her, and how she betrayed us. I brought up the times when I used to sleep next to her after watching horror movies, even though I was 13, and said how she was my safe space, how much I cared for her and everything. I said, "Just imagine how much you have ruined everything, that so much love turned into hatred." She couldn't control her sobbing after that. Even my grandparents started to cry. It was hard seeing my grandfather cry, but what can you do when you raise a whore like my egg donor? She started to shift blame toward my dad, saying he had poisoned me. Classic victim card move. The thing is, my dad, after the divorce, attended therapy sessions to get his life back on track. The last step of that therapy was to make a video about your feelings. My dad made a video of how he forgave my egg donor and wished her a great life. He was supposed to send the video to her but couldn't, so he sent it to me. I played the 2-year-old video and everyone just sat silently. No shocking reaction, nothing, because they knew how great of a person my dad is. My egg donor couldn't control her emotions. I even doubled down by saying, "Me and Dad loved you so much that we were ready to take a bullet for you. But now, even if you die tomorrow, I will not be visiting your funeral." I turned toward my grandparents and started shouting at them, asking how they could raise their daughter to be a cheater. I so wanted to use the W word but controlled myself. I also said that now I can't trust girls in my school and I'm scared to get a girlfriend. Both my grandparents and egg donor didn't say anything. I couldn't stay there anymore and called my dad to pick me up. My grandparents apologized to my dad when he came to pick me up for how he was treated during the divorce. My dad knew something was up but didn't say anything. Egg donor and affair partner had gone out for a walk. I forgot to mention, my dad started dating again and met an amazing woman. She is also a divorcee with no kids. She treats my dad amazingly, and he deserves someone amazing. All of that huge fight at my grandparents' house led to what happened last week on my birthday. Egg donor came to my birthday without affair partner, which was surprising, but I didn't care. After the party, both my egg donor and dad were having a conversation on the balcony. I could hear everything. It was shocking to know that Dad and egg donor were in contact for a week prior, where she begged my dad for forgiveness, and my dad forgave her. On the balcony, she was asking if they could reconcile and start a new chapter. I was shocked to hear that. So was my dad. She said she broke up with a fair partner because she realized she was still in love with Dad. What a load of bullcrap. They realized I heard everything and came to the living room so all three of us could discuss this. What was shocking was my dad was actually considering saying we could become a family again. I shouted at him and asked him to recall how much my egg donor betrayed us, how he had to go to therapy to get his life back on track. Dad was stuck in between. Egg donor tried everything to convince him, recalling how great our family was and that we could go back to that. I was having none of it and asked my egg donor to leave. Dad asked me to speak respectfully to her. As I said, he is a great human. I even mentioned how a fair partner and my egg donor were together for years but didn't get married. She said it was their choice. I couldn't take it anymore and went brutal on my dad. I said, "When you were here hugging and kissing your wife as soon as she came home and asking how her day went, she was somewhere moaning to some other guy's strokes." That hit my dad hard. He looked at me in shock. I also said, "If you get back together, I will run away and never contact you." He didn't say a word and just left to take a walk. I knew then and there I had said something horrible. My egg donor left without saying anything. I called my dad. He didn't pick up the first time, but when he did, I apologized and asked why he would even consider taking her back. I said he has an amazing girlfriend right now. This was something my dad didn't know. He thought I hated his girlfriend like I hated a fair partner. But as soon as I said that, he asked me to tell the truth, whether I really like his girlfriend and wouldn't object if she became part of our family. I happily said yes, and I wouldn't hesitate to call her Mom. Dad was very happy to hear that. When my egg donor found out, she got angry and asked how I could choose someone else over her. I said, I'd pick even the devil over you. She said I was heartless, and that what I said and did was very hurtful. My dad asked me to go to therapy to get control over my temper and my mouth. I am considering it. My grandparents called and said it's time to forgive my egg donor like my dad did. I said no. They said what I said and did on my birthday was wrong. So, am I the a-hole for saying to my father that I will run away if he reconciles with my cheating egg donor? Now for the top comments before reading the update. First of all, let me just say, you are not the a-hole here. Your mom and affair partner are the a-holes for their actions and trying to put the blame on your dad for their own mistakes. Second, I think it's time to start calling your mom by her real name instead of egg donor. And third, props to your dad for being a genuinely good person and trying to forgive your mom even after everything she's done. That takes a lot of strength and love. Stay strong, my friend. Thanks for that. I don't call her egg donor. I call her by her real name. I didn't want to mention names on Reddit, so I used egg donor. I'd definitely take your dad's advice and get help for your anger. All that rage isn't good and will only cause you problems in the future. Thanks for that. I am really considering it. Now for the update. Hi guys. It's been 2 weeks since my original post, and I've come with an update. First things first, I read all your comments under my post. Man, people on Reddit love supporting cheaters. First, I'll answer a few doubts. For those who were saying my dad alienated me against my egg donor, you need to know one thing. When dad kicked her out, she moved in with a fair partner. So I knew at that time that she cheated, even without my dad saying it. Plus, I was 14 when they separated, meaning I already knew what cheating meant. Coming to some good news. As you guys and my dad suggested, I started therapy. It's been great. Granted, only 2 sessions have happened, but still, it's great. There is a lot of anger and hatred that I have to deal with, and it's going to take some time to get over it. Now, coming to the update. I got a drunk call from a fair partner last week, and man, he revealed a lot. A fair partner didn't even know that he was a fair partner. Yeah, you heard that right. My egg donor, while cheating, said that she and dad were separated and were sleeping in separate rooms. She also said they were together only for my sake, and that as soon as I enter high school, they were going to get divorced. I was shocked out of my mind, as none of that was true. Dad and her always had date nights, and had even gone on a trip just the 2 of them, during that 1 year she was cheating. A fair partner said he didn't know about any of that, and thought he was in a legitimate relationship, until I spilled everything at my grandparents' house. He said the comment about his son was a punch in the gut, and that's when he decided to break up with my egg donor. He said, "Have a good life," and cut the call. Man, I feel bad for a fair partner. He didn't know he was in a cheating relationship. Now this all makes sense. Remember when I said F off to a fair partner in my grandparents' house? My egg donor tried to stop the intervention, but I cut her off and spilled everything. I think even my grandparents don't know the entire truth. I then confronted my mom about all of this. My egg donor was first angry that a fair partner drunk dialed me. I guess she's still a mother. Then she came clean and started crying, saying she still loved dad, but this was like an adrenaline rush kind of thing, and she made a mistake. I just cut the call, as I couldn't hear any more excuses. She said one thing, not to tell my dad, as he is happy now and she doesn't want to disturb his happiness. Even I think I shouldn't say anything to my dad, especially about a fair partner drunk dialing me, because I know for sure my dad is going to ruin his life. For those wondering, my dad is rich and his lawyers are sharks. Get this, my parents never signed a prenup, yet my egg donor did not get anything in the divorce except for custody. My dad has connections, so I don't know what he would do to a fair partner. I am thinking of going no contact with my mom after I turn 18 and go to college. It hurts because I loved her for 14 years, and going no contact is a scary thought. Last story. Am I the a-hole for losing my temper with my estranged father's stepkids who keep trying to bring me into their family? I'm about to turn 17 and have never met my father until a year ago. He bailed on my mom when she was pregnant with me, left town, and avoided child support for years. We live in a small town, so I always heard about him. He and my mom had been a couple for like 10 years, from ages 14 to 24, and they were engaged in everything, but apparently a kid was too much. His family wouldn't help my mom track him down, and they acted all kinds of weird around me. I cared, but not that much. My normal was just me and my mom, and nothing to do with my father's family. I love my mom. We're a good team, and she gave me the best life she could. We didn't always have the most, but she kept a roof over my head, and I never had to go without food. She did it all without anything from my father, and she tried many times to get child support, even got an agency involved to track him down. But they said if he was working, it wasn't officially. By the time I was 12, I had decided that if my father ever changed his mind, it would be too late. He didn't get to abandon me like that and come back full of regrets. I never expected it, though, not with how good he was at hiding and how weird his family was around me. They're the kind of people who are nice to mostly everyone, but it was like they wanted to tell me to get the heck away from them but couldn't. Being from such a small town meant I couldn't avoid seeing them around either. But then a year ago, my mom was contacted. My father reached out to tell her he was moving back and wanted a relationship with me and would pay back all he owed her. I hated the idea, but he showed up with a wife and like 5 stepkids. He acted like I was going to run out and throw myself at him or something and call him dad and stuff. Whenever I talk to him, I use his first name. I've shut down all attempts to have a relationship with me. He took my mom to court, and a judge wouldn't order parenting time, but we are forced to attend reunification therapy together once a week until I turn 18. He doesn't let it stop him from trying to see me and trying to make me spend time with him. He has apologized and talked about all the regrets he has, and how stepping up for his wife's kids made him realize he messed up. And he wants a chance and all that kind of BS. But it's not just him. His wife has tried sometimes. She's a lot easier to avoid because her car stands out, and I just go another way if I see it. But her kids, 2 are close to my age, and they are relentless. They approach me in school, in the library, at the diner where I work, and even when I'm hanging out with friends. They told me how good of a dad my father was to them, and how he really wants me in his life, and how they think it'd be cool to have another brother. I told them I wasn't interested. I ignored them. I told them hearing all that crap about the guy who abandoned me wasn't making me more open to seeing him, and it freaking hurt. But their team estranged father all the way, and I guess he talks to his family about the therapy sessions, because they bring up stuff from there when they try to get me to, I don't know, bond with him, or agree to be their brother or whatever. Last Friday is when I might have gone too far. Maybe. I was working after school, and they showed up with their 3 younger siblings and tried to talk about my father. My boss had to ask them to leave and warn them they wouldn't be allowed back in if they kept interrupting stuff. They waited for me and followed me to the library and sat at the table I was studying at. I had to leave after only 15 minutes because I couldn't concentrate. When we got outside, I lost my temper and I told them to get lost and leave me alone. I didn't want to be their brother. I didn't want a relationship with their dad. I wanted them all to get the heck away and go back to wherever they moved from and pretend they don't know me because I don't want to know any of them. Then I said my father could drop dead for all I care when the oldest, I think, told me how much it meant to my father. I said I'd rather be homeless on the streets than be part of their crappy family. The younger kids were upset, and the older 2 were both shocked and angry. I didn't stick around or apologize or try to say anything calmer. I just left. But people heard me, and it was the talk of the town all weekend, and my father blamed my mom. It came up in our therapy appointment yesterday, and he's mad, but still won't freaking leave. He said it wasn't right what I did, but he won't give up. He told me I owed his stepkids an apology, and I'm not doing that. I ignored the stuff he said about why I needed to. But I know this is going to stay an issue, and maybe I wasn't fair, especially when there were younger kids right there. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. That's harassment. I would report to the judge and even police if I were your mother. That's not healthy for everyone. How the heck they explain the last missing 15 years if he is such a great father? The judge knows. My mom and father were back in court a few weeks ago. The judge didn't seem to care though. It doesn't help that we're in such a small town, so running into people is expected. What sucks is I wanted to stay close to home after high school, and now I'm thinking they might just chase me away from my home to avoid them. He stepped up for them so they think he's the best. They don't give a damn about the fact he wasn't there for me.